afternoon, everyone. I have the privilege of being the last speaker aside from Cnut. And my title is We Are Not King Cnut. I work with Atkins. I work predominantly on flood management and coastal change projects in the CDF in the southwest. And this talk is really drawing on my experience of that, the case studies of some notable projects we've done, and just to highlight the work the Environment Agency is doing in the southwest, although this is an England-wide scheme. I'm afraid I'm picking up on some familiar topics, certainly ones which have been discussed a lot and which I've had a lot of ideas from, not least from Jess and Roger, which have been teeming in my mind and filled up my notes. So I'm hoping I can say something new, or at least I can sum up or refer back to some of the ideas already mentioned. But broadly, I'll be discussing sustainability in archaeology, so what we as archaeology and the archaeologists and archaeological consultants can do, but also sort of what we can do with our projects to achieve sustainability. I'll be talking through something called the Minimum Technical Requirements. This is an Environment Agency initiative, and it really embeds archaeology at the very start of the process, as we've heard before. I'll be going through some case studies to sort of try and exemplify the work, and I'll be summing up at the end. So the Collaborative Delivery Framework, or CDF as I shall be referring to it, is, like I say, it's across the whole of England. Atkins are working with Kia in the southwest region, and currently we're working on about 10 projects about before I joined Atkins, but overall we've contributed to about 31 so far. And these projects draw on the EA's Flood and Coastal Erosion Risk Management Plan, or programme, which helps inform the flood risk management plans. And currently, in order to deliver all of them, it's about £2.6 billion, although that was doubled in 2020 to 5.2. And I guess we will see, hopefully fairly soon, what happens in terms of funding for coastal flooding. To pick up on some previous topics, these projects are delivered mostly under planning, but also under permitted development, under a Transport and Works Act order, and under something called MIOS, which is the Measures in the Interest of Safety. So these are predominantly very effective reservoirs, of which in Somerset, where we work with, is many, and they are legal obligations by the CDF, by the Environment Agency rather, to achieve the work, to make them safe. So across the scheme, this is quite an old map. However, we would input across the region into a whole wide variety of schemes, ranging from NFM style projects through to the Tidal Gate in Bridgewater, which is a big £150 million infrastructure project, to very small ones like reinstating weirs or indeed taking out weirs or harbour gates. And importantly, we're a big multidisciplinary company, so I work very closely with a lot of colleagues, and that's something I want to try and talk about here, and the sort of value of the opportunity that brings. So, sustainability in archaeology, what is our legacy? So firstly, I think it's good to talk about, and I think there is a stall outside, but there's some very simple things we can do to try and track our ability to be sustainable and then to improve upon it. Things like keeping a track of our carbon footprint, as Roger was just talking about, but using electric vehicles on sites or using public transport to get to sites. And then there's some things which I think we can try and advocate for, including the use of environmentally friendly materials, or sourcing materials, where we're going to we're not transporting wood from one side of a country to the other, we're looking for local suppliers, and offsetting of emissions, which I want to talk about, but I think I've sort of diverge from slightly to talk about BNG, because I think this is quite an interesting idea as to where archaeology can contribute. And just on this, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of BNG. This is biodiversity net gain. So recent legislation in January now requires a 10% increase on biodiversity from projects, which means for archaeology there's a risk. That means more planting, and this planting will usually happen either in the red line boundary, in a separate project area, or else you could buy carbon credits. But when it happens sort of in the project, obviously we need to consider the sort of risk then. We need to evaluate it for risk to archaeology, and that means maybe for a survey to do so. But it also provides opportunity, and I just want to talk about this project on the left. So that lovely field here, that's a site called Holbein Dam down in Devon. And this is quite an interesting little project. It was a compensatory area for a dam, although actually the dam hasn't been built, or a compensatory area therefore has not yet been built. However, on this occasion, they called us in because running through that field, just with ditch you can see there, is a weir, which is not no longer functioning, but this is an area of old water meadow. And usually we would evaluate this and sort of talk about the risks to it. But actually on this occasion, the landowner wanted us to do a survey, a assessment of what that landscape would look like, what sort of plants would have been there, how it would have functioned as a landscape, and then to use that data to input into this landscape, how that sort of biodiversity net gain required on that site could be informed by the archaeological data gathered. So yeah, I think that's just a small example which hopefully I'll be able to expand upon in one of my case studies of how just what we're doing daily, you know, this is data that will be generated anyway, but data can be used to inform on projects which, you know, maybe a bit more innovative than previously done. And I just want to sort of talk, I think it's fairly explicit in the talks that have been prior to mine, but archaeology is increasingly dealing with a climate emergency. We're working, specifically I am working on these projects because of the risk of climate change and the increase in flooding and coastal change. But you know, globally and certainly in the country, we're going to be doing the same. More fieldwork is going to be driven by the climate emergency. And this doesn't necessarily mean mitigating that or providing sustainable solutions. It also means things like offshore wind and accommodating for pipelines coming onto shore for energy, that sort of thing. And I think, as it's previously been talked about, this requires innovation in techniques and it requires innovation in procedure. But I think importantly, it also requires us, as Roger touched upon, to discuss our relevance, I think. And I'm not just talking about our relevance to clients, but mainly I'm talking about our relevance to colleagues, and in particular, people like the ecologists and the geotechnical engineers who I think maybe don't quite understand what we do, and maybe see us as just another box tick exercise that's been discussed about. But we need to sort of encourage them to think about us as providing opportunities. And we've talked a lot, obviously, about archaeology because we're an archaeological conference. But I think it's important to remember that these discussions are going on in the ecology conferences, in the geotechnical conferences, and presumably having the same slightly siloed approach, to use Alan's term. But we are in a position as a multidisciplinary company to knock on their door and go, have you considered that this area with a historic leach running through it, and that's on the maps as having a historic water meadow in, could be reinstated and be used to inform future, you know, in terms of a legacy of a future compensatory area. Because ultimately, those are the people, ecologists, landscape architects, are the people designing these landscapes, and we need to be involved in that. I think I've written down here as well, we also need to be more informed and on their disciplines. It's no good going to them, you know, I think we could do something here. We need to know what they're doing more specifically. And so on this, I just wanted to sort of refer back to things like the apprenticeship scheme. I think having people come in from different backgrounds, I can't remember the apprentice's background, but he was, you know, coming from a background, or else people coming in from previous professions will presumably have a wider experience to draw on, as opposed to people like me who've come through a university background. And I think, yes, at the moment, I think this is the main issue to think about, really, is how we can convince our colleagues of our relevance and sort of change our perception as archaeologists. To to do so, I'm going to talk through something called the minimal technical requirements, and I'm hoping this isn't too dry because I'm worrying it's a bit too policy heavy. But I thought it might be useful to go through because we've heard a lot about design, and that's a very big thing. That design doesn't just happen in one stage. Design happens over whole years, breadth of time. But to start off, the minimum technical requirements were brought in last year by the Environment Agency, and this determines the deliverables expected from individual disciplines at project stages. Like I say, it's guided by the Flood Risk Management Scheme, and this informs their business case. So just bear with me. The first stage of this is scoping and preparing, so it's called the strategic outline business case. The second stage is planning and preparing for that outline business case, and the third stage is the full business case, procuring and delivering this. So the SOC stage of the strategic outline business case is the business justification, and actually what the minimum technical requirements do is they require us to input into that. So we're not even involved at the beginning of the design stage, we're involved at the appraisal stage, and that's a very small thing. We're just putting into literally an Excel table. But we can do at this stage, we can highlight the risks we see from the project, we can highlight the opportunities we see from the project. So things like Jess was talking about, we could say about right at the start, and this actually informs the shortlisting of the options that get taken forward. And this provides a great benefit to the planning team and the people who are designing the projects and the people who are making the decisions about going through to outline business case. Because likewise, talking about sort of cross-disciplinary awareness, I think it's important to realise that we are probably quite a frustrating discipline in many senses, and that sometimes a design, a very nice design, gets put forward and we go, no, that's going to be wildly expensive to do the field work for, and there's going to be so many issues that put the costs back, put the timescale back. But this means we can do it straight away, and we can tell them about that up front. So in terms of deliverables, again, this is a bit dry, but moving through to the ABC stage right at the start, this is the early design stage that's been talked about previously, we would provide something called a Historic Environment Ground Investigation Report, or a HEGIR. This is usually incorporated into the geotechnical team's GI investigations rather than us doing our own. But this informs on the ground conditions and the what we might take forward as survey opportunities. We also do a preliminary historic environment appraisal report, which is a DBA, and we create something called a HEM, so a historic environment management plan, which outlines all the risks, opportunities, and what our approach is going to be. And at this point, we would include the things like the social value, and this is importantly, this is an iterative document. So as design changes, if things change, we would update. And I just wanted to harken back to something that was mentioned this morning, I think, which was a comment about value in later engagement. We talked about the opportunity in early engagement, and I think that's very clear. But I would just like to talk about that because I could see the values from it, but I could also think that based on my experience, based on some of the projects I've worked on which weren't subject to these, I could see there being sort of reputational damage to archaeology as a profession, where we've gone in and said, no, I'm sorry, this is going to be hugely expensive because you want to, do it right next to a scheduled monument, so it's going to be 12 weeks later, we've got to do the consents, and you're going to have to work completely around it. So I think having this minimal technical requirements, which is well known, it's a roadmap really for the developers to listen to, and it means we can sort of put our inputs in straight away. We have it down on paper, so it's very sort of detailed. We can say to them this is exactly what we're going to do, at what point we're going to do it. So yes, I think to go back to some of the points that we raised before, this early engagement means we can innovate early, really. We can have the conversations we need to have with various colleagues internally, and it makes us more relevant to the project design, the whole project lifestyle. So I will now talk about some case studies, and I will apologise. Having just talked about the minimum technical requirements, so recent we haven't actually had any projects go through with them. But this was a project which sort of adhered to them in principle, and it's the Bridgewater Tidal Barrier. So this is one of the biggest flood schemes in the UK. It's going in just outside the town of Bridgewater on the River Parrett. It will protect 13,000 homes and 1,500 businesses. So it also includes sort of downstream defences and fish and eel passes, so it's a really county-wide effort. But we've been involved with the scheme design, delivery, and sort of mitigation for things like the compound area you can see there, where we found it was Oxford Archaeology undertook the field work, sort of very initial works, found things like this Hoffman kiln here, and sort of other earlier brickwork, which is what Bridgewater really is well known for. They also found sort of Roman archaeology artefacts in the wider area. But because we engaged early with the design, we were able to scope out the majority of the archaeology. So even though we were finding very nice stuff, we knew then we had more information about where it was, so we could say, please don't put a borrow pit in it because it's going to rub it all out and be very expensive and costly for you. And something which I think hasn't really been highlighted well enough about this early design engagement is that it provides a real opportunity for carbon reduction and net zero, because we're doing less work, really, so less trenching, less sort of vehicles going out across the site. So, in order to achieve the sort of sustainability outcomes that the project's demanding, we have to do our bit, and we have to sort of design around it. I think this project so far has been successful. Like I say, it didn't really engage as early. However, broadly we've scoped out the archaeology to quite a degree, not fully, which I think we would sort of hope for. Well, not hopeful, but there's certainly areas which have been unavoidable, but have yet had a big impact on timescale and cost, and had caused some sort of grumbly arguments with the developers. But I think, this is a point. I'm sorry, I've got all my notes here, going back through the last day. Going back to Sadie Watson's point about the Thames Barrier, I think this is the other example of a really big project. I mean, this is going to be such a substantial sort of thing in the Bridgewater skyline. This is a very, very big project. So whilst we haven't actually conducted any setting analysis of this, it really highlights how much our landscape, and especially our coastal landscapes, might well change as a result of a climate emergency. And as was said in the forestry talk yesterday, that is inevitable, but really archaeology has to have a part in that and informing the design of that, which we have done at Bridgewater. The second case study I want to go on to is a very nice one. It's called the Moors at Arne. So this is a big example of NFM. So it's 150 hectares to compensate for coastal squeeze in Poole Harbour. This was under the field work on this was undertaken by Wessex, who you can see just here, and they they firstly undertook a geophys, an electromagnetic survey, which identified peat deposits. They did a geoarchaeology survey, and eventually did about 300 trenches across this area you can see here. Off the back of that, they did this landscape reconstruction, and you can see a sort of artist impression of a completed scheme up there. We found lots of nice fieldwork, Roman, Iron Age, as you can well imagine, as well as some later World War II stuff. This is a much earlier project, so there was no ability to design out the archaeology. However, we did so much survey, it should have been possible, and it should have been possible to include, I think, for landscape reconstruction based off just the scale of the data, the amount of data that was uncovered through the archaeology, because really that happened very, very early on compared to some of the other surveys. Lastly, I want to talk about Newland Coastal Research Project. This is a very small project. We talked about the scales of projects, and actually this is a very, very small one, but a very interesting one. It was a research project as opposed to an actual flood defence project, but it was trialling the use of eco-blocks, so these sort of things you see here to be used in coastal risk management. So another hard engineering example, but one that's been sort of engineered to be as environmentally sustainable as possible. So there was a lot of questioning by the locals as to why we didn't just use rocks like was previously done, but actually these blocks are much more sort of better, I suppose, for the environment. They are, I'm not quite sure how, but they have a better pH, so that sea life colonisation can happen as opposed to on the rocks. You can see they're fairly bare, whereas this is an eco block that was just sort of semi-submerged for 20 months, and you can see how far the colonisation of that has gone. They're also much more carbon friendly, and they're able to withstand the high energy environments that is required of them. So we could do a setting analysis for this. It's in a conservation area, and we also noted that there's some archaeological, some peats you can see eroding out there, and a line that was actually a sea defences up there. So at the same time as doing the deviated informal setting, we were also trying to mitigate for the archaeology, which Wessex undertook, and we just successfully avoided damaging any archaeology. We undertook some peat sampling, which was very informative, and actually it was one of those questions that came up in consultation, was how are you going to minimise impact to the archaeology, and we could already answer that because this development was under permitted development, so we didn't have to do any of this. So it was very good that we were engaged as early as we could, because it became quite an issue with the public. And lastly, I mean, like I say, we've gone through the benefits of early engagement, and I'm sure you've all made plenty of notes about it, so I'll just add a few sentences to it. But you know, it helps with optioneering. It helps improve the ability of project designers to make decisions informed on cost and timescales, and you know, includes for archaeology, which really is, you know, a really fantastic thing to do, because it means that I mean, we don't do less work, but we do it earlier, and I think in some ways we can do it more cleverly. And it means we can use our data. I think we can take that time to use our data to actually inform and design, as opposed to just generating data and it going into, you know, into repositories. We can hopefully feed back some of that data into project design, landscape design, ecology design. We get to design mitigation strategies, which are more tailored to the needs. It enables us to engage with colleagues. I mentioned plenty of different disciplines in which we do so. And that makes us more relevant to them, hopefully to take forward into sort of, you know, the new industrial revolution, as Alan has put it. Maybe we can be more in line with the sort of the ecologists informing on social value projects. We can team up with them to deliver it, not just as archaeologists, but as ecologists and archaeologists together. And it allows for community engagements. I think, you know, that's a big thing. Like as Newland showed, you know, the heritage is very important to people in coastal communities. They're expecting a loss, or expecting a change, perhaps. But you know, we can, at minimum, we can make sure that's recorded, but we can also find ways to ensure that it isn't lost or it's dealt with appropriately according to their needs. So thank you. I think we're ready for questions. I don't know if you've got another